April is National Poetry Month, and this sounds like maybe a pleasant way to get your day started.
Absolutely. Metro State University is hosting an afternoon of poetry and conversation coming up next week, featuring Professor Suzanne Nielsen's book of poetry, Face Up. And joining us now to tell us more about it is Professor Nielsen, along with publisher Belo Cipriani. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Okay, so Susan, let's start with you. Tell us about your book, Face Up. What's this about?
It's a collection of poems that are rather snippets in time. And one of the things that that I sort of had a theme with this book was facing up to something.
Something or someone?
It doesn't matter.
Really?
Yeah.
Was there some particular event that had you say, look, I'm going to do this, I'm going to take this on?
I think all of my poems, when I enter the poem, it's a matter of, this is a snippet in time, and it's something I have to face.
Bella, let me ask you this. What are you looking for when it comes to publishing a book? Is there something or criteria that you're looking for?
We're a disability publishing house, and so having a disability is something that's required for us to publish our writer's work, but we're also looking for writers that are speaking to current and modern problems, and that's something why we selected Suzanne's book as the winner of the 2021 Poetry Prize, was because she deals with a lot of illness and chronic disabilities, but at the end of the day she's talking about modern issues, which is important.
What made Suzanne's book stand out to you?
I felt that the descriptions and just the localization. She's a St. Paul native, and there's so many pieces that really walk the reader through different times in St. Paul and Minnesota and the Twin Cities, and it's just a walk in time in this very rich area.
Suzanne, I'm curious because some people would say that poems, they aren't as relevant in today's world. How would you respond to someone who says that?
Well, I would say that it is National Poetry Month and has been since 1996, and that I think people are connecting more with poetry because there's a story to be told.
And you, Metro State hosting their afternoon of poetry and conversation, what do you hope people take away from this?
What I hope people take away from it is how important it is to face difficulties.
Yeah. I was going to say, when you're with your book of poetry, what goes through your mind? You're like, this would make a good poem, or this would not make a good poem. This would be relevant, but this would not. This would not be. Walk us through that process, if you could.
When I first start a poem, it's very organic, and it starts with an image for me, and where I go with that image is pretty deep.
Yeah.
And in a draft, I really take risks, and then I reread it and say, wait a minute.
Let me go back
I really want to face up.
Yeah.
Right. Belo, I see, is it Oleb Books? Is that the name of the company?
Yes, it's my name in reverse.
Right, it's your name in reverse there. Tell us about some of the other books that you've published and where people can find those works.
Sure, they could find us at olebbooks.com. We've had some anthologies published within the last couple of years, and we're releasing 3 books later this year, so people could sign up for our newsletter on our site and get those details.
Well, thank you both so much for coming in, joining us this morning, and having this conversation with us.
And thanks for having Limo, the service dog, join us as well, too. Bella, Suzanne, we appreciate your time.
Metro State University's Afternoon of Poetry and Conversation. It's this Tuesday, April 11th, 4:30 to 6:30 at the University of St. Paul Campus Library and Learning Center. You can go to WCCO.com/links for more information.